Hi, how's it in the name of Christ? How you doing? It's your girl Cranky. I hope you're good, I hope you're peachy, I hope you're stellar, and I hope you're in a neat little bunch. It is the 13th of December, a Wednesday, 2023, at almost 18:57. It's a warmish day, whatever. Okay, so what's up? Caveats, my captions are not always accurate. Please look out for that. I don't have enough support. Never mind that. But like, I don't have enough energy to be editing them, but I like them, so we keep them there. Yes, maybe one day in the future, a future of which I seriously doubt is coming, but hey, let's just keep talking. The next thing is my makeup. I'm wearing makeup. An app. It's an app. So if it falls off, it's an app. It's an app. Okay. Anyway, yeah, what's going on with my nails? I just wanna, put out there, look, I'm under attack, okay? I'm under a lot of attack. What in the world is going on here? Come on, don't be so bright. I'm under attack, a lot of attack, and I said the other day that, was it yesterday, as recently as yesterday, that, or maybe day before, whatever, it's just some other day. Okay, that when abuse, affliction ramps up against a Christian, they're close to breakthrough, whatever that breakthrough might be. And the world needs to understand at this point that, sorry, if I'm yawning, my nose gets runny, so we're not trying to have crusty snot just hanging out at the doorstep of my nose. That's not kosher. Anyway, whatever, yeah, no, look, whenever you are just bombarded by attack perpetually, just going and going and going, yeah, and it keeps ramping up, like it appears to just get worse and worse over time, that is a sure sign, surefire indicator that your breakthrough is close, whatever that breakthrough might be. And I shall communicate right now what that breakthrough could be. One, in my particular life, let's speak about that. All that yawning is because of my I'm under attack. I'm under a lot of spell casting from here to Timbuktu. It's okay, man. Like, Ningakara. Gimbokoto. I don't fall. I just come here looking like a drunkard. But fall. Where are your dreams? Keep dreaming them. Keep on dreaming. Keep on dreaming. Bring into with your dreams. Keep on dreaming. I ain't going nowhere. I can't say that enough. Dream on. But anyway, those who dream do that. They just dream. Keep dreaming. Speech lag. Yeah, I might encounter that today because it's kind of hot. Over and above it being hot, I'm afflicted. So, demons love to work with electronic devices, so keep on dreaming. Ooh, whatever, moving on. Don't want to sing. Breakthrough. It presents itself in multiple ways, guys. It's different for all Christians, but there's no Christian, and I keep saying that over and over again, that is endured through persecution without there being ultimate breakthrough. The breakthrough inevitably comes, right? Fact in case. Historically too, y'all need to understand that the world, the way that it thinks and its upside down like way of thinking, loves to celebrate literally when it's way too soon. They love to jump up and down on the spot when it's way too soon, and so find out later, whenever later might be, that whoops, shouldn't have done that. So I'm rocking up over here to my afflictors to just let you know that my breakthrough is like literally tomorrow or something. Why? Because of what you keep doing. Like, you keep increasing sorrow in my life. You keep on slapping me with death spells. Yeah, that's a thing. And then you also keep on slapping me with love spells. I have like a menace in America that's like, yes, I get, oh wow, die, right? That's all I feel about that guy. He needs to just pass away. However, the breakthrough that is inevitably coming, I want you to understand when it does happen that you must gauge it as breakthrough and nothing else, alright? All of y'all who are sitting in a comatose corner being all catatonic with satanic worship, this is the deal, okay? Breakthrough possibility number one. I go on to make like a bird, and I fly. Go out there and I sprint. I go out there and I do cartwheels on the grass. Because I literally got my life back. I mean, that's one way out. I got restored to finances. I got restored to dreams, desires essentially being given me. So I got the children, I got the husband, the picket fence, and this whole planet that we're chilling in somehow is maintained for me to be able to live in it. That's scenario number one. Like, things improve in South Africa. Things improve in the world for Christians at large. And then where it is that we thought there was no future, there then is a future. Essentially that which would be similar to the Americans going into Germany and dealing with Holocaust survivors, taking photos and everything to show what Hitler did in those death camps. And those emaciated Jews then go on to grow up to be men and women, having children, being married, living in the world peacefully with the whole planet, because now they gave them compassion because they were that bad towards the Jews, and they ignored them until eventually it got so bad that they couldn't ignore them anymore. So if I got my breakthrough, I keep saying this over and over again, I would be like a Holocaust survivor. Someone that would get out of a death camp all emaciated, basically tethering on death. Just scraping as through, an empty bowl for like the last fragments of rice. Barely making it, struggling to keep their eyes open long enough to like be rendered alive and stuff. And then somebody like quickly hooks up a helivac, takes them out of there, puts them on a drip to feed them intravenously since they can't eat anymore, given that they've been made anorexic and therefore unable to eat, and then starts to slowly but surely recover them. Their skin color returns, and it looks as if though they could actually live, but they were literally on the precipice of death. Yeah, so that's a form of breakthrough. It's it's unseen, it's not expected to happen. People in that position don't imagine they're getting out. They trust they're gonna die in that state. And then one day, like I said, like the Americans coming into Auschwitz over there and discovering just what a heinous criminal Hitler and co were. And then these people go on to be wives and husbands with children, entire legacies, and they even inherit a land and stuff to call their own. Never ever expected they were gonna get out in and of themselves. They didn't think it was gonna end, and then it just did one day. That's one form of breakthrough. And when I get out of this, I will, very sadly, to all of my enemies that did this to me, enemies of which, let me just put out there, I'm made up of, friends, family members, colleagues, people that are currently regarded as law-abiding citizens in South Africa and anywhere else. And it will be ultimately discovered that they were just really evil, like, as in excruciatingly, monumentally, magnificently wicked. They will be learned as ones who harbored whole thriving souls in death camps at the peril of the country, just so they could hold on for dear life to their reputations. They will be found wanting as ones that literally watched a woman they were supposed to love just die, and in a most barbaric fashion, and then she one day just got out. So my survival out of this, like getting out of Auschwitz as a Jew, is threatening to humiliate just as it did in the Holocaust, post-Holocaust, the Germans. It is threatening to humiliate the whole freaking country that I live in, that is South Africa. When I survive this, and it is inevitable, South Africa, because nobody who is this evil just indefinitely is allowed to carry on like this without getting busted. And the thing about the wicked as well is that they know what they're doing is evil, right? And so even though they want to justify it, they are substantiating it. To them, it makes sense. They have a conscience. Thanks to Romans 1, that's what Jesus said in that word through Paul, that the invisible qualities of God are all over creation, and that's why people don't have an excuse. So when you are doing an abominable thing in the name of an ideology that you're holding fast to, that you really believe is the true thing that needs to happen, you thoroughly believe in your bones that this is the way things should be, and you just feel as if though people just haven't quite gotten to understanding where you're coming from yet, but they will one day finally see where you're coming from. Same way that Hitler imagined that the day's gonna arrive when people are ultimately gonna see where he's coming from concerning the Jews. But in the run-up to, he had to employ some pretty heinous methodologies to fulfill his ideology. And so what he did with the band of miscreants he was, concerted with, was hide his atrocities. He hid them, hoping that when then he creates a white supremacist state that is finally the, pure Reich that he calls such a thing as that, then only people will see why the means justified the ends. So he went on and experimented in those death camps on Jews, afflicting the living daylights out of them with doctors and basically just eugenics, right? All different kinds of experimentation on a people that were considered subhuman or not even human. And then he just committed all these atrocities, but he strangely, even though he really believed in his rhetoric and that people should come on board with this, if you really think it's such a pure and an honest and a beautiful thing, you should not be running from anything or anybody. You shouldn't be hiding it, should you? You shouldn't, like even in the slightest, because you believe this and it is so pure and holy, that ideology of yours in your own mind, that you ought to be glad on a mountaintop, a rooftop perhaps, to just do whatever you need to do to achieve success in fulfilling that ideology. And if at all that stunt work that you are embarked on to achieve that success in that ideology should render you an abomination for a season, you should to yourself tell oneself that this is a necessary evil. And on top of that, the means justify the ends. So you shouldn't be scared of the means because you really believe in this. You feel as if though you are recalibrating scales. So transparency should be your mantle. Is it not what I'm doing? I have an ideology. I am transparent with everything I do. I am showing my whole entire life because I stand for what I believe should be the conversion of the entire planet to Christianity. I believe that, and that's ultimately gonna happen. So my methodology in bringing every single soul on the earth to Jesus, with little success I will admit, but my attempt at it is transparent on a rooftop because it's my ideal. It's my dogma that I believe should be embraced. So given that it's this thing that I imagine is so pure and awesome and everybody should come on board with it, I'm transparent with my first and foremost desires to convert the whole planet to Christ, and secondly my methodology is to do so. Everything is on a rooftop perch singing like a canary. That is my strategy to achieve this thing. Why? Because I believe my ideology or my dogma is pure, it is good, it is wholesome, it is ideal, and it is what everybody must eventually end up doing. So I am not ashamed to broadcast that, and also am I not ashamed to be transparent with, like I said, the strategy, the methodologies to get there. That ought be how everyone holding on to our ideology is. They should not only rhetoric their ideology, put it on paper, make it clear, propagate it on a rooftop with a mic and everything, as to this is what I want to do. They should just say this is what I intend to be the truth. You know how Hitler was such an excellent orator? He got that right. He propagated his agenda by oratory, by communicating what his intentions were, what his ideology was, what he wanted to be the thing that the whole planet gets, the thing that the whole world embraces. He was an excellent orator that communicated to everybody that this is what I want. Unfortunately, however, that's kind of where it ended with Hitler. He was just a really great orator, able to influence people to believe in what he believes in, but he was not readily willing to share his methodologies, his strategies, his strivings to achieve that end. The means to the end were heinous, they were so abominable, that this very calloused human being with this very solid ideology that is as dogmatic as it is, was unprepared to show even those that were his biggest supporters, those who were his biggest propagators, like his biggest soldiers in this military that he is starting. He was not prepared to show them all what he's doing. So much so was Hitler not agreed with by his own Nazis, some of them, that multiple times were there assassination attempts on him because his methodologies were not agreed upon by everyone that agreed that the white race is the supreme race. What was his ideology was agreed upon, but the means to the end were not liked by everyone to a point where there were multiple assassination attempts on his life. Multiple. Because people wanted to achieve what he wanted to achieve, just in a different way. If you cannot be transparent as that barbarian that you are, then your ideology, you are evidencing through your lack of transparency, your affliction by something so basic and rudimentary as a conscience. You are being slapped upside the head by a conscience that is telling you this is heinous and an abomination. The world is highly unlikely going to approve of this in its masses. People are going to look down on you trying to fulfill the realities of your dogma as a blanket belief by the whole planet, because of the fact that your means to achieving that particular dogma as doctrine by everybody are just too freaking terrible. They're just heinous. They are being absorbed by the abyss, and so for those reasons, something's up, Baghambek. The Bible says in Romans 1 that the invisible qualities of God all over creation leave us without an excuse. For the existence of God, secondly, our consciences speak volumes. So when you ignore your conscience, on that day you admit that there is something that's trying to stay your hand from continuing in a particular abominable fashion, but you just choose not to listen to it. And that the day might arrive when this thing handles the living daylights out of you. Okay. So Hitler, being what he was unable to, albeit being the excellent orator that he was unable to convince everybody of his means, only his ends. He hoped to achieve the supreme race. On the other side, then bury all the massacrings, the treacheries, the horrendous afflictions at the various death camps where he housed the Jews, if you even want to call it a housing, because that's quite the euphemistic term. Yeah. Okay, very well, righty on. Well, all of y'all Hitlerish type menacing monsters in the occult, you have ideals. You've got dogmas that you are holding very nearly and very dearly to. You also believe that these dogmas of yours are the way. They're the right thing to do. You sufficiently stand by these dogmas so much that you are prepared to linger all the way through a conscience that's whipping your behind. Because you believe that the end justifies the means. The means of which, however, in this insatiably horrendous dogma that you're sitting in, are heinous, and you know that. Because if at all you were to be transparent with what you're doing to achieve these goals, the world would frankly frown. They would puke in their mouths. They would ban you from society, render you a catatonic psychopath that ought to be put in a stray suit in some kind of a permanent psychiatric hospital where you will be high on some drugs for the rest of your days because you cannot be trusted sober. You've got dogmas. You've got beliefs, ideologies that you thoroughly imagine the whole planet must accept. Because it's your belief set. And being the excellent orators that you are, just like your father Hitler, you're good, very excellent at doing a speech to convince people to join you. But my oh my, how the same people at that speech, some you cannot allow to see what you are doing to achieve that goal. The incredible misogyny in South Africa that has been birthed into an ugly little menacing satanic spawn to afflict the freedoms, the liberties of women in this country, to a point of starting a whole secret society in KwaZulu-Natal in order to proliferate an ideology, a dogma that these men thoroughly believe in. That women should be in the house, black ones at that, because really it's an attack on black women. Barefoot and pregnant, submissive, docile under men, earning very little in comparison to their men, if at all, entirely provided for, essentially an ideal of a patriarchal structure in the black community where most women are heavy-heartedly and entirely dependent on their husbands and boyfriends only, with them having no freedom. That dogma, and also the desire to polygamously grab as many wifeys as you desire. It is a strong ideal, and even though it is kind of crazy, it's menacing, it's intensely nasty, one needs to realize that in history there have been men and women that have risen up with intensely nasty ideologies that you can't even imagine what a human being with in their right mind would fashion such a thing as that as an ideal, because it's not ideal, it's abominable, it's full of discrimination, it doesn't make sense, but to them it's what must happen. Like white supremacy is that thing where it is that it was thoroughly believed upon, it's still to this day, that white people are the supreme race and everybody else is a substandard human being that ought to be beneath them and second or third class citizens. It was an abominable ideology. Nonetheless, there were people who held so fast to it and were so excellent in oratory to convince everybody that it is true, that like entire societies embraced it as a thing and then created systematic oppression. Hitler did the same thing against the Jews. It keeps happening, and in the black community currently, at least in South Africa, I'm already sure, I can't speak for the whole world, but I'm currently being afflicted by an evil American man, so we don't know. There is an ideal, a dogma that dwells richly in our men, our black men in particular, that it wasn't broken, why fix it? The whole women are barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen thing, and nobody is gonna work. She's just gonna be nobody. If she doesn't embrace or trust me, I guess she's gonna have to be a lifetime spinster. That is an evil, discriminatory little ideal conjured in the members of certain men in this country, and it has like spread its fangs into so many sectors of our society that it's essentially a gangrene that, absent of severing the limb off, amputating it, the whole country's gonna just drown. It's evil, just like Nazism was evil, but there are people who strongly hold to it. However, you know that an ideal is wicked and frankly the trash of hell when individuals that are trying to proliferate it will do it by any means necessary, including hiding some of the means. Because if society were to find out what under heaven it is that are the means that are being employed in order to effect this end, they would revolt, they would rebel, they would reject it. So it's all good and well to be white supremacist, insofar as you can convince black people that it's true, insofar as you can convince Indians and the Latina, like everyone that's not white, insofar as it can be like, yeah guys, we agree, we'll be your servants, and in peace and docility they just take it in their stride. Then on that day your ideology, maybe there's something to write home about because everyone seems to agree with you. But when there's resistance, and then thanks to resistance you then by any means necessary make it true by, I don't know, killing black people, killing Indians, killing everyone that's not white, that doesn't agree with you, until the rest of them are subdued in fear to you and just in docility say, yes master, just don't kill me. When that's what you're doing, on that day your ideology is evil. It is evil, and really and truly, thank God that he is a restrainer that rocks up and stops something from finishing its work. Because if at all the work of the wicked regime was allowed to do its full work until everybody was subdued docilely under it, no one would ever know what the means were to achieve that end. And so people would not understand the history of the suffering of those that were ultimately made to obey. And so it would look as if though white people one day woke up and said, we're the better people, and everybody was like, okay, that's cool. When that wasn't the case, you rather beat everyone into submission. Well, now that we've used white supremacy and Hitler's insanity, let's talk about this misogyny, where it is that women are being beaten into submission. They're literally being put in caskets. They're being killed. Like, that's actually what's happening with me. Like, I've been putting that out there. Yeah, just murder her, you know? Choke it up a storm. Mobulaya hasabatli. Kill them if they don't agree. Okay, if that's your means of achieving your end, cool. Just be transparent with it though, so that we can gauge if at all this is a worthwhile ideology to proliferate. Let's just do that. Come on, let's be honest. I mean, I have an ideal too. I've also got a dogma. I'm also sitting in an extreme of belief that frankly renders me one of those catatonic, dogmatic people on the planet that you're so intolerable and you're so unmoving that there's no place for you here. I'm one of them. I am a Christian in the worst way, and I thoroughly believe the whole planet should be Christian. I do. I believe the whole world should worship Jesus Christ, call him Lord, bow at his feet, honor him, pay homage, sing praises day and night to his throne. The whole planet. I believe that. I'm dogmatic. I'll take it. Am My stigma, it's cool. I am a dogma. I'm not gonna lie. Entirely. I believe it. So much so that I'm prepared to basically just suffer as I'm suffering right now to make that clear. That I am working for the kingdom of heaven to ultimately come on the earth. And it's gonna happen, like it or not. I'm prepared to, with a whole bunch of attitude, my nose in the sky, snooty like a snob. Stare everybody down like they stank when they don't know him. That has afflicted me anyway. I am prepared to not only die for what I believe in, but I also am prepared to just kind of let everybody know on the left and on the right of me that you don't want Jesus? Oh, okay, go to hell. Literally. That's what I believe. Go to hell. And I also believe that the day's gonna come when what I believe is going to be a reality. My ideal, my dogma is one day going to be a total reality. I believe it. I believe that the whole, left to right, up and down earth, including all plants and animals, grains of sand, are gonna bow down and worship Christ as Lord. I believe that, the whole earth. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Everybody. Yeah, including those jihadists in the Middle East, those members of Hamas. It's gonna happen. Yeah, they're gonna finally agree with me. They're gonna get there, I'm telling you. Yeah. Even this needle on my head that I used to scratch my itchy scalp is gonna bow down and worship Jesus. I believe it. Yeah, dogmatically, in the worst way. I believe that even you over there that's casting spells on me, you're finally gonna get down on your ashy knees and worship Christ. You are. I believe that you and you over there with your Wicca, your black magic, your funny little chantings and gruntings and Eastern meditations and mysticisms and inhaling of incense and funny little whatever, you're also gonna agree with me. Yeah, you there who is pelaring me, feeling like this chick, yes, get wasanya. You're gonna worship Christ one day. You're gonna do it. I'm telling you. It's entirely going to happen. It's not even, there's no shifting shadows about it. So what I believe in is an ideal worthwhile to follow. So much so that I'm prepared to be very, 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 very extremely transparent with my attempt to evangelize every single one of you. Because you're gonna eventually obey Jesus. The sad and disquieting thing about it though is that you're gonna obey him from a vantage point if you don't listen to me now. Where it is that you're freaking out because he's sending you to hell and stuff. So it's gonna happen. I believe that the day's gonna arrive when the majority of the world is in Christ. Yeah, this world as we know it. No, not the coming earth. The other one where I said that the whole earth is gonna worship God, it's called the new earth. And that's a whole thing in the future. After this earth gets rolled away from the face of God, and then there's a great white throne judgment, and then we get to inhabit a new earth. There, everybody is going to be Christian. Yeah. Here, however, there'll never be a single time in history where there's a 100% Christian population. But the day's thoroughly gonna arrive when a good 80 to 90% of the world is Christian. Truly, not fluffy, not this lukewarm thing that a lot of y'all are doing. Not this mere profession of faith, but your hearts are far from him. As in a good 80% of y'all are like Karabo. All radical and stuff, looking dumb for Jesus. Yeah, for 1,000 years it's gonna happen. It's called the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, but you know what? You don't gotta tell me about it. You gotta believe me. You don't have to. Bottom line is, believe it or not, it's gonna happen. And when you've got that kind of confidence in your ideology, that enables you to be transparent with your methodologies to get everybody to that place. It helps you along. It makes your means to that end worth the while to share on a rooftop, because you're literally going to ultimately, all of you, bow down to Christ, so you might as well do it on time. You know what I mean? Do it on time. Don't wait to die. Don't wait to die. Don't wait for the rapture, but you know what, whatever, you don't gotta, okay? Because herein lies the deal. The same methodologies that, Hitler, those means, to the end of ultimately achieving a supreme race. Yeah, well, guess what? We've got a God in heaven that's going to very transparently, literally put a whole bunch of you in death camps because you wouldn't worship him. Yeah, it's called Sheol. He's going to put a whole bunch of you in a reprobate mind where it is that you're just gonna grab a mark of the beast and stuff and worship Satan so he can take you to a death camp for all of eternity called Sheol and then hellfire. Yeah, and then those of you that are still kind of stubborn, bashing your fist at him, he's then gonna rock up and just kind of throw you into a death camp at his second coming. And then at the very end, after 1,000 years, he's then gonna burn the whole earth with you in it. And then that whole earth is gonna flee from the sight of God. And then he's going to call you like your little doggy, like, hey Spotty, yeah, from the sea where you're at, and from death and Hades where you're at, so he can finally put you in like the eternal death camp, which is called eternal lake of fire. It's gonna happen. We have a dogmatic God who is pretty insistent on his ideal, and those who stand with him, no one can be against them. Yeah, so therefore, those who stand with him can boldly and confidently put forward not only their ideology or their rhetoric, otherwise known as the gospel, they can also show you their methodologies in transparency, because they serve a true God who is going to fulfill his promises to how he's going to neutralize you in the word. I mean, really, like, imagine if Hitler wrote the book of Revelation. Like, basically, the revelation of Hitler. Did that guy, that was his surname. I almost said that Hitler was his first name. Adolf. Yeah, Adolf Hitler. The revelation of Adolf Hitler. Yeah, and then he goes on right ahead and speaks about his little 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. How it is that he's going to, you know, decimate you with creatures so loathsome that nothing that we've ever seen on the earth resembles them, and they're going to sting mankind for 5 months and they're not going to be able to die even though they tried to. How it is that he's going to dry up 1/3 of the grass. How he's going to, like, kill 1/3 of the wildlife in the ocean and on the fields, the beasts of the field. How he's going to send a star from the sky called Wormwood and just burn all of y'all. How he's going to cause all of y'all who basically, you know, disagree with what he gotta say. So if you're Jewish, you're gonna literally get some loathsome sores that are gonna appear on you because you dared take the mark of Jesus. That's how honest Jesus is. Like, he told you that he's going to send on you some apocalyptic horsemen. He told you that he's going to not only ransack you, but during the time when he's ransacking you, somewhere along the way, those who love him are going to cheer and celebrate in heaven and have dinner, like, while you're still suffering. It's coming. He was honest about that. That's what happens when a dogma is real. The individual in question that is proliferating the said very stubborn, rigid dogma is honest with how he's gonna finish off everybody that does not agree with him. And I belong to the guy with the big dogma that is the real one. And I'm telling you that you're gonna eventually, like, honor, obey Jesus. Like it or not, and seeing as that you're gonna stay stubborn all the way up until the end, he's literally going to put some loathsome sores on you after you take some mark. He's going to take away all your water, make it bitter, and you're gonna die because of that. He's going to get you stung by funny animals. He's going to get all of y'all to do a strange thing because you have not loved the truth but have taken pleasure in your unrighteousness. And I am sitting here mocking you because you don't agree. That's what I'm doing. You mock me, I'll mock you back. Like, God laughs at you hysterically because you're evil. Yeah. So, misogynistic cult in South Africa. Since you call yourselves God, I mean, you literally have taken on the position as God, have you not? You've made yourselves this fearsome thing that, absent of obeying its every last commandment, be afraid, be very afraid, because I'm going to strike you with death. I'm going to strike you with leprosy. I'm going to impoverish the crap out of you if you don't honor my spells. Okay, very well. Be honest with that though. Make it clear that you're gonna visit my sins against you to the 3rd and 4th generation. Make it clear that you're gonna impoverish me and my whole family because I refuse to sleep with you. And I refuse to sit in the house of some stupid guy that's not even as smart as me, and yet somehow he's the only one making money. Come on, make it clear that you're willing to do everything, including take the head of my mom, the head of my sisters, and just kinda, you know, drown them in some toilet water until they abandon me so badly that I will do what you want me to do. Just make it freaking clear, you animals, that those are your means to your ideal, because you've made yourselves God. So since you've made yourselves God, make like the one true God, because you covet his throne, do you not? You do. And be transparent. Hook up the revelation of Tepo Mazibugo, the revelation of Toriso Moloi, the revelation of Jabu Akitsebe Shabalala. Like, come out. How about you write a whole biblical text, or whatever you want to call it, okay? Your religious text for your organization, and reveal to us all that we might trust you as God. Because you see, it is written of Jesus, of the Lord, that we know that he is God because he reveals the beginning from the end. He gives us prophecy, you guys. He does. So if at all you want me to worship you as God, I mean, you're thoroughly trying to be a deity. You are, it's clear. You want to be a little god, do you? I mean, ain't nobody gonna stop you from being an idolater, but if you don't want me to view you as an idolater and also an idol, but just as God, you have got to do that which God does. Guys, be transparent. Give me prophecy, let it be fulfilled, and then I'll believe. Write me your version of the book of Revelation. Tell me who are your silly little horsemen of the apocalypse in your space. What is the thing that's going to bring about the end times event in my life? Because I am a disobedient infidel against you. I am just so incredibly terroristic to your ideology that I gotta be neutralized. Given that I gotta be neutralized, random satanic occult organization, explain to me why I do better to honor you that I might live, so that I can be convinced. Evangelize me, please. Like, I insist, evangelize me. Evangelize me away from my idolatry. If at all you consider my Jesus an idol, please, I need salvation. I do. I need salvation. I'm suffering right now so badly in all of my lostness, walking blindly through this earth unawares to myself that I'm facing condemnation eternally, it appears. How in the world, who is going to rescue me from my false belief in Jesus? I mean, you have an ideology, it's clear, and you thoroughly believe that you're above Jesus Christ, and that I believe wrongly. You also stand with ancestors, and you will do anything at all, to prove that they're God and that I have abandoned mine. So seeing as I am walking as a flagrant idolater right now, and I don't know what's gonna come whamming me on the head because I've rejected my God, convince me, evangelize me, convert me, for crying out loud. Do your gospel. Give me the gospel of Jabu Shabalal. I want to know, because absent of that gospel, I mean, really, according to my gospel, the one that I believe in, faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. So I mean, seeing as you're God, and seeing as you're a counterfeiter of my God, and seeing as you imagine my God is not really God, so if anything, my God is counterfeiting you, then it shouldn't necessarily translate that faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of Jabu Shabalala, right? So Jabu, give me your gospel, so as to rescue me from the flames of hell that I'm inevitably headed to because I believe in an idol. You call my king a child. You call him a little baby in a manger when he's completely graduated from that. You thoroughly worship his mama. That's what's good. Yeah. Because you have no regard for the fact that his mama is also a saint of that same God. You don't know how a mother can worship her own son. So seeing as you stand for the mama, and seeing as you've come up with all different kinds of other things that I call idols, unconvince me of my idolatry, please. I need salvation. I want the right way, the path. Who is so foolish as to allow themselves to go to hell? I don't want to go to hell. I chose Jesus because I don't want to go to hell. So if I have chosen a wrong God, like the Muslims have chosen a wrong God, and they don't want to go to hell, they don't think they're going to hell because they believe they've chosen the right God, well, in the same way that we keep on trying to evangelize Muslims so they can embrace heaven, evangelize me so I can embrace heaven, because it appears I am lost from what you are proliferating. I need help, do you not see, to come out from the darkness that I am in. And so, given that you have this ideal and this dogma that you thoroughly imagine the whole planet must subscribe to, help me see where you're coming from. So the day does not arrive where I am kneeling down and I am confessing that you are God. Because on the wrong side of you though, however, like I did not embrace you. That's what's good. On time, I perished apart from learning that I was supposed to worship you. So I don't want to kneel, and I also don't want to bow down at your great white throne judgment. I want to kneel and bow down now on earth before I am on your bad side. But in order for me to do that, I need to be given faith in you. And since faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of Jabu, give me your gospel that I might kneel on the right side of history before I am condemned by a Jabu who's going to tell me, depart from me, you worker of my particular kind of iniquity. I never knew you. Like, I need to know. I am begging you with every bone in my body, proselytize me, evangelize me, whatever might be your tantamount of bringing me to faith in you, because you want me to believe in your ideal. However, you are shadowy, shady, you are all sketch. You hide behind your ideology, you hide behind your rhetoric, only the oratory that you are so excellent at releasing through your silly little breath that has got halitosis, but you will not show me the means to the end. I'm sorry, I apologize. Jesus Christ not only wrote from the beginning to the end, the means to achieve that end. He also gave us the end, and that's why I believe in him. So much Bible prophecy has been fulfilled. He came, he lived, he died, he was resurrected, and now he's going to come and take us. And given that he has proven himself God in the scriptures and according to all different kinds of evidence across the world, that evidences the reality and the veracity of scripture, I run with it because it is proved. And I also run with it because he is God and has shown the beginning to the end to me. And I have seen it unfold in broad daylight. So unless you've got one up on him in that regard, I'm having difficulty standing with your ideology. I'm having difficulty standing with your dogma. It's not that I can't stand dogma. I'm not one of those people. Thoroughly. I'm a religious nut. So for those reasons, I can never be those tolerating kinds. Everybody goes, everything goes, pamper it, walk around with unicorns, and wear braids in your hair with stars in them. I'm not that girl. I'm dogmatic. So because I'm dogmatic, I'm the perfect proselyte for you. I entirely am, because I can be made extreme for any religion. I can. Look at me for Jesus. I mean, I'm like a whole religious nut. So if you want me to be a nut for ancestors, if you want me to be a nut for your ideology, if you want me to be a nut as a wife number 5 of a polygamous man, help me see where you're coming from. And then I will be a nut that will wear a frock, a tunic, all the way down to my ankles, just to please and titivate the taste buds of a man that believes that ought to be the state of a woman. I need you to help me along, because if you don't help me along, what are we gonna do, Jabu? Help me along, Jabu. Seeing as the means to your end, to annihilate me, that's what's good. If at all I don't obey your little structures of religion, my thing is, why are you not transparent with them, since your ideology is so freaking perfect? I mean, it is an ideal in your eyes that everybody should subscribe to, so why? Banda bataweng ba mo South Africa ba tumpang basadi baba bolayang if they don't obey? You who is exactly like God, because that's how God is. I mean, you literally have worn the status of deity so perfectly. It's like a onesie on you, with not even a single measurement out of line. It draws the contours of your body like a onesie of a superhero. You're wearing deity like a onesie. And so wearing that deity onesie, help me understand why I should regard you as indeed the superhero you claim to be. I need to know. Give me your religious doctrine. Show me the beginning and the end. Instead, you're unprepared to reveal to the planet, just as Jesus Christ has given us the revelation of Jesus Christ, what you're going to do to crush everyone that is an infidel against him. If Christ was honest, why aren't you? You're God, aren't you? You're God. I mean, come on. Be like God and be transparent. Reveal to me the beginning and the end. I need you to do that for me, because I need you to explain to me why my life is going to be messed up from here to Timbuktu if I don't obey you. That's exactly what God does. He says, these are my 10 commandments. He says, these are my Levitical laws. He says, this is my letter. And then he says, should you choose to disregard it entirely, this is what's going to happen to you. He says he will leave no sin unpunished, visiting the sins of the forefathers to the children, to the 3rd and 4th generation. The Lord makes it clear that if you disobey me, if you sin, if you don't take the propitiation of my son, I'm going to throw you into hellfire and you're going to burn. No, not just for 5 days or for however long it is that was the duration of your measly life on earth, but forever. You're going to burn for eternity, to a point where he's prepared to take any stride. Human beings bashing their fists at him on some one kind of a God burns people for eternity. Having no understanding or comprehension of him, not even trying to investigate the mystery of godliness, not regarding the fact that his thoughts are not yours and his ways are loftier than yours. Nonetheless, you don't care. You just feel like you're so evil. How could you burn people forever? He doesn't care that you feel that way about him, because he's made it clear that that's what I'm going to do to you if you don't honor me. I am going to burn you forever. He's not hiding that he is literally going to put people in an eternal rotisserie, and the smoke of their torment will rise up forever, and there will be absolutely no mercy. He was even frank enough to tell his own children to go into camps of his enemies and massacre man, woman, and child. That's how honest God is. He's out here committing what you call genocide, and he does not care that you have qualms with it. That's an honest and frank and transparent God. Because he's so holy, he doesn't care that you have qualms with his massacring of an entire village. He doesn't care that David rocked up and looked kind of homicidal with the foreskins of 400 Philistines. Yeah, pretty much 400 members of Hamas. David rocked up with, like, properly the foreskins of these men, and it was a celebratory affair in Israel when he came back with the foreskins of 400 Philistines. And yet here it is that Israel is being given grief for massacring Hamas, for handling them. When you don't have, I mean, y'all know that Gaza is ancient Philistia. So here it is that the IDF is bringing 400 foreskins of the Philistines, just like David. And like the UN is on some glitching and twitching because the UN has got this like limited mindset. Joe Biden is out here grilling Israel for bombing Gaza. It's like they're just bringing back the foreskins of 400 Philistines because that's exactly what it is that they're supposed to do to win the war. The Philistines are their enemy. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah, our God is transparent about that. To a point where we got the UN all up in our grill. That's what's good. We've got the United Nations. We've got basically global pressure to just down tools. We stand with Israel. So that's why I call us we. We're in this together. Amen. Yeah, boldly. Because that's just what God does. He is transparent. But if you make like Hamas, and you conceal the fact that you've been raping women underground, where it is that you're hiding them in them tunnels, and you conceal the fact that you've been chopping up babies, killing them, that you hide footage that we have, God, on that day you are not the one true religion, are you? You're not the one true God, are you? You're not the one true anything, because you gotta hide your ends, your means, these ends that the Palestinians, for instance, are standing by. The means to achieve them are so heinous that sometimes they gotta hide them. Just like Hitler having to hide the fact that he was literally harboring a whole bunch of Jews in a concentration camps, not feeding them, experimenting on them medically, and massacring them in most heinous fashions, gassing them, killing them like they're just cockroaches to be fumigated. But that's not something that he easily shared. It had to be found. It had to be busted. Like, all of his death camps had to be discovered. Nobody was trying to come out with confessing what Hitler's doing. He only wrote down his ideology on paper, but he never ever wrote down his means to the end. So, when then you cannot jot your means to the end down, you're not God. Because God jots down not only the end, but the means. He lets you know how he's going to achieve a 1,000-year millennial reign. He is going to gouge, he's going to call fowl in the sky and beasts of the field to eat the flesh of the whole battle army of Armageddon. Like, they're gonna get eaten by animals as they're still alive. Do you understand? By the breath of his mouth he will destroy them. The winepress of the wrath of God is described all throughout the book of Revelation, and he is making it clear that he is God. He commands the wind and the wave to do this and that. He tells the beasts of the field to do that and the other. And so he's going to call birds and beasts of the field to eat an entire 200 million man strong army to death. I mean, if at all you cannot confess that that's what you're doing with occult magic, if at all you can't say that I am going to cause accidents on the road and therefore drink up the blood of innocents in order for me to achieve my goal as this particular devil worshipper, then you're not God, are you? You're concealing your ends. You are secretive. It is written in God's word that whatever it is that is hidden in the darkness, he's going to reveal it in the marvelous light. It's going to be brought forward. Do you understand? So if the Lord is all about transparency and you're not, I guess you're not, then the Lord are you? You are not king, you're not God. So why under heaven do you think you can dictate my future? If you cannot tell me the beginning and the end, the way that the Lord has written me the book of Revelation to tell me the end and the book of Genesis to tell me the beginning, where's your Genesis and where's your Revelation? I need to know, because if you cannot give that to me, I cannot stand by what you believe I should stand by. You're not gonna by mere attrition convince me to do something I don't want to do just because you're full of pressure, just because you're full of stubbornness. Goodness, people have been full of stubbornness for a minute, but like, stubbornness is not what makes you a God. Veracity of fulfilled prophecy, able to tell the beginning and the end, and also transparency of you doing that, that's what makes you God. So if at all you truly want to be a deity all up in my grill, convince me. Help me understand why ancestors are God. Help me understand why witchcraft is a thing. Help me understand why it is that I should be scared that you can't stop casting spells. Why should I be afraid of your death spells? Why should I be afraid of your force me spells, you're never going to work again spells, you're never going to do this and that? Like, I need to know why it is that I must be scared that I'm apparently going to age with nothing and nobody. I need to know that what you're saying is true, that I might tremble appropriately before the holiness of God that you are, and so therefore worship, that I might not endure sins to the third and fourth generations, punishing me. The soul that sins shall die. I don't want to sin against God. I really don't. So if I've chosen the wrong one, I implore you, like right now, please, like, convince me that I might gain my future upon honoring you as God. I want a future. I do. I do. The Lord told Jeremiah that I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Yeah, well, I mean, if he was all mistaken and not the thing, not the deity, to be able to fulfill that in Jeremiah's life, let me know fast and furious in a way that is convincing. Be an apologist against my God and for your particular theistic undertones, that I might embrace your God that's going to give me the future that I need. I want a hope and a future. I really do. I do. But it appears as if I'm stranded, I'm stuck over here, given that I've chosen the wrong God. So show me that I've chosen the wrong God by proving yourself as God. It's the only way. Displace mine. Like, displace the deity I have unleashed to. I need you to unconvince me of Jesus Christ. Because right now your argument is flaccid, it's fluffy, it's not going anywhere. You ain't got nothing on the book of Genesis, nor that of Revelation, and everything in between. You ain't got jack on Bible prophecy, so if you can give me Jack Joe and a pack of chips above biblical veracity, I will run with your doctrine any minute now. I will run with it. Show me, oh Hitler, that white supremacy is the ideal race, so that I can nicely just kind of down tools on my desire to be independent as a black woman and just obey every lost white person here as a god. Because you've convinced me that what it is that you're doing is the real deal. Tell me the means to the end. And if I approve and vet them, I will then join your party. I will hold on to you for dear life. I will take up my proverbial cross for you and follow Jabu Shabalala. Like I will. I'll do it. But you need to convince me. And if you cannot convince me, then I'm sorry. I will rather stand with the one who has told me, mark the upright, behold the righteous man, for there is a future for the man of peace. And I'm a female of peace, so I feel like there's a future for me. Breakthrough, it appears, is quite inevitable in my life. Yeah, that's what's good. And when I come out on the other side of this, just as the Germans were humiliated by the treacheries, the carnage by Hitler of the Jews, so too is all of South Africa going to be humiliated by the carnage of Christians, true ones, in the land, by the carnage of women, this cult that is being run in the country that has got men in it. You're going to be humiliated because of what it is that you did to your own females. You did this to black women, black men in the country. You let them be trodden underfoot as with a stampede by a whole bunch of animals. Beasts in the wild are consuming your women left, right, and center. Your cult has decimated the nation, and by the time whoever it is that is a survivor of this massacre, come out and tell the stories of what it is that you did to them, the whole of the world is going to frown on the country, just as the whole of the world frowned on Germany after the Jews got freed. You have committed a Holocaust, don't you see? And I am literally a Holocaust survivor in the making. That is one way that I could get out of this, through a redemption, getting my life back, and your means to the end that you had hidden underneath tables in your occult magic, your clandestine secret societies. All of this clandestine secret society stuff that you did, it's gonna come to the forefront, it's going to come to the surface, and when it does, literally all of South Africa is going to be humiliated. Let's move to the next part.